People behave differently in front of a screen. They are much more passive, less expressive, and it goes back to our relationship with screens. We've typically been in a receiving mode when we're in front of a screen, whether that screen is a TV screen, the movie theater, an iPad, or a computer. It's been a pretty one-sided human experience until recently. And so we get into trouble when we start to associate in-person behavior meaning with on-screen behavior. So what we're going to do is take a look at some of the typical virtual behaviors that we see that are commonly misinterpreted. Now, if you were out with this person and they were not looking at you and looking down or away the whole time, you would probably be right to assume that they're distracted, uninterested, and certainly not paying great attention to you. Unfortunately, this is what we see all the time in virtual meetings. And it's primarily because people are looking at your image on their screen. Now, do you know that your customer is not reading an email or typing a chat? You're not 100% certain, short of putting surveillance cameras in their office, but there are certain clues that can help you diagnose whether this is problematic or not. And the first one is this: are their eyes going back and forth as if they're reading? Now, that is much more concerning to me than looking down. However, keep in mind, it could be related to your meeting. They could be reading your slide. They could be sharing something with a colleague that they just heard you say. So again, not jumping to conclusions is very important. Now, wandering eyes is another problem when people look around, but often it can be associated with your presentation or your meeting as well. They could be checking in to see what other people in the meeting, how they're reacting to what you've said or shared. They could have had a momentary interruption in their personal lives. So unless it's something that is very persistent and happens repetitively, I tend not to check in at those points because that's a very common behavior, and it's often associated, like I said, with the virtual meeting.